Hi, I'm Mary Thomas, owner of Innovative Therapy and developer of the BODi Power System, and I am so excited that you are joining us for level 2A. Okay, that means you've already graduated and completed level 1A and level 1B, and now we're in level 2A. So we're going to start introducing some variations on the movements. And I am really excited about this because this starts to create even more changes in your body. So let's take just a minute and review and refresh. We have Melanie as one of our models, and we have Susan as another one of our models, and they've already told you a little bit about their stories, and they've done a little bit of BODi Power System now because we've recorded it, right? So what changes are you noticing, Melody, right now, or just after doing level 1A and level 1B?
I notice on the leg raise, I can raise my leg a little more without discomfort. And then also on the arm raise, and I feel less pain.
And how about when you walk? How does your walking feel?
My gait is better. I'm not so hip out, I'm walking more.
Like you feel like your body's on top of your legs more?
Yes, yes.
I have words for this.
Thank you.
It's all those years in school, right?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
And Susan, what are you noticing?
I have energy again. When we started these recordings, I had come in with a headache. My neck was spasming and I really felt like my entire right side was stiff, and I was not thinking I was going to have a very great day. And after using the system that you have, the first thing that left me was the pain. The stiffness didn't go away right away, but as I got up and moved around in between these sets, I'm realizing my energy's back and I feel more engaged and I don't have any pain. So I'm pretty excited about that. I feel a lot better.
Your eyes look brighter.
Well, we're coming from two different places, though, and I think that's really important to point out because you've had chronic pain for a long time due to some type of a trauma.
2010.
And I haven't had that kind of a trauma lately. I mean, I had a back injury when I was young, but I'm not suffering from a regular chronic problem, but I did overwork myself. It's pretty extremely. I mean, I could have been down. So I'm grateful to see how the BODi system really works no matter what side of the spectrum we're on.
Yeah, it can help. I've even had people tell me that it's improved their abilities to participate in sports and get better performance in sports, as well as people who have told me that they just generally felt better and had more energy overall. So it really runs the gamut between people who, want to just feel better and possibly improve their performance with, say, sports, or people who are living with significant pain and want to change that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the really neat things I think about the system is that it's applicable for so many different people with so many different problems and coming from different backgrounds and different levels of trauma and dysfunction in their bodies and lives.
Yes, even with being with me, I'm severely obese. But even when I was obese, I didn't have pain, but because of the trauma in my life. So I just feel like it don't matter petite to moderate obese to severely obese like myself, you still can get benefit out of it.
Yeah, because it's also developed that anybody can do it. Mm-hmm. So I've had people who literally on the leg raise couldn't lift their leg higher than an inch off the floor. Mm-hmm. But yet as we continued to perform it and they continued to progress through the levels, mm-hmm. they were able to get their leg to 90 degrees off to the floor. So it was a progression, and to realize that it's like, hey, this is the best I can do today, and my best is good enough because I can build on my best, mm-hmm. and I can get better. Yeah. And so It's so often that it's like, well, that's not good enough. You have to be this good, blah, blah, blah. No, it's, I have to do something. And when I do something, change begins to happen. So let's get started with level 2A and make some change happen. What do you guys say?
Sounds good.
Let's go.
Okay. So on the website, for you at home,
I'm looking forward to it.
you need to print your papers because you want to track this information. It's going to help you, and we're going to talk about that more as we go forward into additional levels. So this is, again, level 2B, and the addition that we're doing is rotation. So level 2B is, or level 2A is rotate in. So when I count a rotate in, I'm counting from this line on my elbow. I'm rotating that into my body wall. Now in the clinic, a lot of people will say, well, should my hand be this way or that way? This line on your elbow needs to be into your body wall. So how you place your hand is so much less important to me, in fact, pretty insignificant to me, because I can hold my hand in a lot of different ways. But if I measure from that elbow line and put it into my body wall, then my shoulder is rotated in, which is what I want. Why do I want this? We don't think about it. But every move we make in life and every functional activity we do involves rotation. And an example of this is if you've ever seen one of those pop lock dancers that do the robotic thing.
Yes.
I'm really bad at it because I've spent my career not doing that. But they have removed rotation from their movements. That's what makes them look that way.
Oh, wow.
They are doing what we call straight plane movements, and they have taken out the rotation, and so it looks very robotic, which is an interesting thing to watch. I don't really want to do it, but the cool thing for us is we're going to exaggerate rotation, because since it's such an integral part of everything we do, when I reach for something, did you see the rotation? If I reach for something, I'm rotating and adding the rotation. So we're going to exaggerate rotation because that helps our body have a voice and helps our body to say, hey, there's an issue with that rotation. There's an issue with this movement when you rotate me. And so as a result, instead of doing the rotation, I might do a side bend, or I might do a twist in my trunk. And then that puts strain on my shoulder blades, on my neck, on my low back. And this ends up limiting our movement because, well, it hurts to reach my hand over my head to get that plate out of the cupboard because I can't really do the rotation. So this level is all about exaggerating that rotation. So we're going to rotate that arm in, and then I'm going to do the same arm raise that I did in level 1A. So I rotate in and I lift my arm up. Now you may not be able to move as far because you've already taken up some of the slack in your joint, which is okay. But I'm going to notice, is one arm easier than the other? So I got to test both sides. Make sure that line is rotated in. You got it. So I want to point out here, when Melody raises her left arm, raise it up again. Notice how it flares out away from her head and her head tips over to the right. Those are scores, by the way. It's not like, oh, you're doing it wrong, and I'm not going to come over here and nag her. Why? Because nagging never works. Because the brain hasn't learned it. And movement, when I'm going to walk someplace, I don't think heel, toe, shift my weight. I don't think any of those things. I think I got to go to my car. Right? And then you walk there. So if I have to nag my body and say, keep your arm in, keep your head straight, blah, 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 you can force it. But this system is not about forcing. This system is about gentling. This system is about experiencing what your body can do and then bringing it back into a better balance. So if you're watching yourself in a mirror on a camera, or in Melody's case, if you have me sitting there, and you notice how her head tilts and her arm flares out, that could be a score, but we have to compare it to the other side. So when she raises the other arm, her right arm, So look straight ahead as you raise up your arm. But you can see the right arm has a flare out the whole entire time. So then it becomes important, what are you feeling as you do those movements?
I feel pain.
On which side, or both?
Right here, I feel pain here. And on this one, I feel pain here because I got a shoulder injury.
Okay, so you're actually getting pain on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So that might be a case where we circle the equal sign on the level,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually put an H in the box. An H just means hard, meaning there were significant issues, and some people will even make notes and put down, I had pain on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That means we're probably not going to treat that movement for you today.
Okay.
How did yours feel, Susan?
Well,
Yeah, rotate in.
It makes me very conscious of the muscles in my shoulder,
Okay.
but I'm not feeling a restriction. And so I don't feel like that's going to be an issue for me. There might be a difference in my symmetry. I can't tell. If I was looking in a mirror, I think I could tell. I can't tell just myself.
So I want to try something. If I'm rotated in
Okay.
and I raise this arm and I'm helping you to raise it right in front of your
Oh, wow,
body.
that's very different, isn't it?
Yeah, because you're going on what I call the walkabout.
Oh.
So the walkabout, I'm going to come behind you.
favorite thing.
So the walkabout is that if you look at her arm without me assisting, her arm flares out to the side. Her arm goes out laterally.
Mm-hmm.
But when I assist her, then she has a very different experience. So when you're doing this at home, to do this, like I said, either in front of your computer camera, you don't even have to press the record button. You can just watch yourself move on the computer, or you can do it in front of a mirror, and it just depends on your household setup and what's more convenient and faster and easier for you. It's fine with me.
Okay.
So when you do it that way and I give you that assistance, do you notice that one arm is harder than the other?
I think my left arm wants to buckle. Right, I mean, right
Okay.
up in here, it wants to restrict.
Okay.
It's not, I don't feel like it is restricting, but I'm not doing it the way you are.
So just really focus on keeping that arm in front of the shoulder as you bring it up.
Because right about in there, now there's a tweak.
And right about there is where you start to flare out to the
All right,
side.
so I got some tweaking right here.
Because I would bring the arm
Oh,
about right there
okay.
and then keep bringing it up. And right there you can feel the tightness. I can.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't go up as
But
high
right
when you
there's the
keep it.
tweak. That could be pain. That could be, oh, you talked about that. That could be pain coming if I don't deal with this now.
Exactly. Because when we function over time out of balance, I liken it to a car where maybe you have a shock problem and you don't do anything about it. So now your wheels get out of balance. So now your tires are wearing uneven. So now your struts get out of balance and get worn out. So now the brakes start working differently. And eventually you have thousands of dollars on repairs in your car rather than saying, you know what, I need to regularly get my car inspected and I need to make regular tweaks and adjustments to the car so that I don't have this massively out of balance car. It's similar to our bodies because eventually that car can be replaced. Not so much for the body.
Well, that's bad news. And right now I can feel my neck tension has returned from doing that. So clearly
Wow.
it was a misalignment.
Right.
I mean, I can just tell.
And so it's like it becomes important to do your best to score which side is the hard side and how much harder is it. So then we get good information on how to correct it.
Okay.
So you're going to grab your phase 1 worksheet and you're going to circle under arm raise, rotate in, whether your left or your right arm was your hardest side. But that was a really good observation, Susan, because some people don't pick up that it's like, oh my gosh, now that tension's back. But how many times a day do I reach into a cupboard? Do I, put something away or whatever overhead that I'm not thinking about, and I'm creating that tension, right? So we're going to add up those 3 scores: easy, difficult, flexible, stiff, comfortable, painful.
Okay, now,
Add those up and divide by 3.
how do I do it if it's equal?
Then if it's equal, you just put an E for easy, an M for medium, and an H for hard, and you had pain on both sides, so yours would be an H.
Down here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what that H does for us in the measurement number box is it just tells us that there was a problem with both shoulders when I did this, when I tested it originally.
Yes.
Because then as we go forward, and possibly as we go back, because that's a whole
So I had
lesson
the
of
pain
itself.
and the pain and the popping.
And you could even make a little note down here in the margin, just say I had pain and popping in both shoulders, and that went up into my neck. And what that does is it helps us to see progress as we go forward and come back and retest some of this stuff. Because there is review built in, because the truth is our bodies start changing, but then they're open for more change.
Okay.
So there's review built into the system. All right, so now I'm going to turn sideways. I'm going to sit forward on my chair. I'm going to put my leg out straight with my heel on the floor. So this is very similar to level 1A. However, now I'm going to rotate in. My knee, like my elbow, my knee is where I base my rotate in from. So when I'm here, my knee needs to turn in so it's smiling at my other knee.
Okay.
All right, because you'll see as we go forward into other levels how it's super important to count from the knee and the elbow. All right, so now the goal is to bring my thigh to my chest. So I lift that up and bring it down. And I notice how easy hard that is. If I hold it up there for a few seconds, how easy or hard is holding it.
That is a booger for me. That is definitely
Yeah,
hard.
because even rotating in is very hard. Because you can see the knee is having a hard time rotating in. All right, so don't keep doing it because we don't want to beat our bodies up.
Thank you.
When we know that it's hard, we know that it's hard and we're done. Because repeating it doesn't make it any easier, and it can cause additional trauma, so let's not go there.
Okay.
So let's test the other side if you haven't already. If you have, that's fine.
I don't feel like I can turn it.
So that would be a score, right? And again, this is a comparison left and right. So I might have a little thing on one leg, but I have a great big giant thing on the other leg, so that's the harder side. Okay, so I'm going to grab my papers, my worksheets. I'm going to decide which was my harder side. So I score that easy and difficult, the flexible, stiff, the comfortable and painful. Add up those 3 numbers that I circled, divide by 3, and I put that in my measurement number box.
Wow, I ended up with 80.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me, but it's likely going to be one of your top 2 movements at 80.
Yes.
So we're going to get ready to do the trunk twist with a twist. Because it's trunk twist with a twist.
All right, so we're moving the chair back, okay?
So when we do the trunk twist, remember we're sitting on the clock. 12 is in front, 6 is in back. So that means 12 is here, 6 is there, 3 is there, and 9 is there.
Okay.
Which just gives me the ability to kind of measure how far I go. Now the other thing is that when I do this, and I may do this at 2 different angles to the camera, because I'm going to twist as far as I can go. And now I'm going to side bend, meaning imagine you have a broomstick across your shoulders, and I'm going to tip the broomstick back towards my heels or my buttocks.
That actually feels good.
Awesome. Okay, so try doing that with your shoulders relaxed, because you're like here rather than there. And this is a very, very common thing people do, is they start bringing their shoulders up to their earlobes.
And to relax.
Rather than keeping them relaxed. But
that's such an unnatural position.
Yeah, so it's a position.
Now the
like
other thing is to be sure that you're tipping your shoulders as opposed to leaning back from your hips. Those are two different movements. And it gets very confusing, and this is really, really important when you're doing these tests on the twist, is am I actually bending my spine sideways or am I leaning back from my hips? So let me show you. If I twist and lean back from my hips,
that's different.
That looks very different than I'm bending my spine. Okay, and I'm going to do this sideways to the camera. Twist, and then I bend. You can see how it crunches up here as opposed to lean back.
Oh,
it's not a lean back, it's a crunch up.
Okay, I keep trying to lean back.
Yeah, that's what I catch myself doing.
Yeah. It's so, my body tells me to lean back.
Naughty body.
Naughty body.
What happens over years of life?
It's easier. Lean back, Melanie.
What happens over years of life is we get stiffer and stiffer.
Stop it.
And we don't even realize it until it's like we're so stiff we can't move.
I know.
But do you ever need to lean behind and grab something behind you from the chair, from your car seat, and reach back there and get something?
That's true.
And so to have this flexibility also improves our balance just walking down a street. Because if I can do all these different movements, I'm less likely to be disturbed by, you know, a child running down the aisle at church, or, you know, a child at, you know, you're at the store and there's sometimes kids running because that's what kids do. And so now you're like, I don't have to be afraid because I've got this ability to make shifts because I've trained my brain to know how to do those movements. Okay.
Very good.
So, did you have a hard and an easy side?
I was busy trying to figure out how to do it. Now I need to do it again. All right.
And this is not uncommon that people have to retest certain movements because...
And I was trying to get it right, but my back going.
Hi.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going fine. And this one is not as nice as that side. It felt good this way. This way I have pain.
So that's going to be your hard side. Now here's another really important thing to remember when you're scoring these things and when we're counting left and right side, because we kind of did two different movements, right? Twist and then side bend. So always count from the first movement. So if my first movement is side rotate, twist, I count to the right.
Yeah, it's more pain to...
If I twist to the left and the left is harder, I count to the left. So it's always from the first movement, and the first movement is always the title of the exercise. So on trunk twist, my first movement's going to be trunk twist. My second movement is side bend, and I count my left or right by the first movement and the movement that is the title of the exercise. That is consistent throughout all the levels of BODi Power System. And it's important to just like lock that into your database up here so that you can go, okay, I know which, am I doing this right? Am I doing this left? Now you can refer back to, yes, I'm doing this. So I can keep track of it. Otherwise it can get confusing because as we move forward, we invite your body to do more and more complex movements. And so this enables your body and your brain to correct dysfunctions that may have happened during complex traumas.
I think it's really neat how, you know, we times 3 and then divide it, and it really shows us the one that end up being the hardest and the ones that end up being more easy for us.
Eye-opening, yes.
Yeah, and that was my whole purpose
I got
in
a
coming
60 for
up
this one.
with
Oh, wow.
some type of a scoring system or some type of a voice to give the body, because we're not accustomed to that. That is not something that you learn in physical education class. And at any point in elementary school or higher, you know, it's all about running, jumping, throwing type things rather than, what do I feel? How does this feel? Kids who love it, and kids who probably didn't have a lot of that type of physical engagement in their earlier years are just like, well, I'm the last kid picked on the team. I'm not good at sports. I don't like to move. And the truth is, it doesn't need to be that way if we do real physical education about, well, what do you feel? And whatever you feel is what you feel. We don't have to negate that or invalidate that or say, well, you know, that's wrong. It's just what you feel.
Exactly. It's okay that I feel a certain way versus how she feels.
Exactly. Because then the system becomes or is customizable to individual needs. And that was why it was so important to me to have two people do this together so that people watching the video can go, oh, and I'm different than them, which is perfectly okay.
Right.
Because we're all different. And why don't we celebrate our differences rather than making a big deal out of them?
Right.
When we celebrate everyone and everyone's abilities, we become a community as opposed to this separated thing.
Yes.
And that doesn't work. And that doesn't work in the body any more than it works in our communities.
I agree, definitely.
We have to
Absolutely.
integrate.
Amen to that one.
Okay, so now you get to go back and circle your top two movements. So when you circle your top one, that's the one with the highest score, you put a number 1 by it. Then you circle your second one and put a number 2 by it.
Okay.
Okay, so now I know what I'm going to do for my treatment, because this was just the testing phase. Now we're going to go to treatment phase, which is phase 2. So when I write down my exercise, I'm going to write down the one with the top number that has the number 1, right?
Yes.
We're also writing down the date. So I'm going to reiterate a little bit, why is that date important? Because on those discouragement dates, I can actually go back and maybe test one of my other levels and go, oh my gosh, look at how much this has changed. Because I keep this sheet in a binder and I'm able to go, oh my gosh, I have made improvement. My body has changed. May not be where I want it to be, but it isn't where I was. Mm-hmm. And that's how life works, and that's how progress works. You know, your first grader at the end of the first grade year is not where they were at the beginning of the first grade year, but you didn't expect them to do that in an hour. They did that over time and continued to learn and grow, and then eventually became like, oh wow, look at all these things that I've learned and can do now that I couldn't do before this entire year of first grade. So this is taking this process with the body and doing it at a pace that the body can actually integrate the data and really make it part of itself. So after you write the name of the exercise, you're going to write your number in the initial measurement number box, initial M number. And then we're going to put in the hard side and the easy side. We're at level 2A. And again, you might be at a different session because you might have decided to repeat a session. This might be your third session based on doing level 1A, level 1B, and now we're at 2A. So it might be your third session, it might be your fourth or even more, because you might have decided, I want to go back and review that. Those gals are so funny. Or maybe I just missed something. So it's up to you on that.
Okay.
Okay, so our easy side is going to be our treat our easy side. And then you get to decide, do I want to do reps or holds? My top movement was a trunk twist, so I'm going to do holds.
What do you recommend for the arm raise, reps or holds?
Usually I start with holds, with 20-second holds.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay, mine's leg raise.
Usually with leg raise, I go with reps first. Now here's the cool thing, is that I actually have patients who have learned over time, and they'll say to me, I'm always better if I do reps, or I'm always better when I do holds. So you're gonna learn that as you continue through the levels, and just know that it's like my body seems to respond better to reps than it does to holds, or to holds more than it does to reps. It's just an individual thing about your body, so embrace it and say, I am so glad to build this relationship with you. You know, because the more I build this relationship with you, the better we can function together in the world and life. And isn't that great?
Yes.
Because the better we function together, the less we have to use those medications with all the side effects. The less we have to go to waiting rooms and sit and wait for somebody to tell us what's going on with our bodies. Because when we listen to our bodies, we can almost, just so often be able to figure out and how to support it. And that's what's going through the whole body system. That your ability to listen to, hear your body and work with it by the time you get through the levels is incredible. You're like, oh my gosh, this body and I actually appreciate each other and even love each other. And
Yes.
I say it that way because there was a time I really hated my body. I was very angry at it. It didn't work right. It didn't function the way that I thought it should. And I took it out on my body.
That's my point now, where I'm at.
Yeah. And where you are, I was there. But where I am, you can get to, because I don't think I'm that much different than you.
And now I'm trying to get where you
So
are.
it's just a process. So you're going to do reps, we're going to do holds. And now we're all three on a different movement, because I'm trunk twist side bend, she's arm raise, rotate in, and she's leg raise, rotate in. So cool, you can see all of us do different movements. All right, and
And we're doing the, I'm doing the left, the easy.
do the easy side. Yeah, please remember to do your easy side, by the way. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so, whoops. All right, rotate and then do your bend. I'm timing this.
My mind told me to do only 3 reps this time.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot to cue people to do that, to listen to their body and figure out how many reps they need to do, what's going to work for them. Okay. So if you needed to do that, you can take a second. All right. So now we're going to go again. We did a little shake it out. Not a great big one this time. Sometimes I do little ones, sometimes I do massive ones. All right, so let's twist. It kind of depends on what my body's telling me.
Now doing the hard side now.
No, you're doing the easy side.
Okay.
We're gonna do,
this is holding again.
yeah, rotate in, doing the 20-second holds.
If you're short, you really have to get to the tip of the chair to be able to get.
Now, Susan, keep holding, because you started after I clicked the button.
Do your hands fall asleep when you do this?
They can. People tell me that. It's been enough years since I did the beginning stuff that I don't remember. But people tell me that on a regular basis, yes.
Wow.
Okay, bring it down. This is going to go off because we got off on the timer, but we're fine. So, yeah, you can have numbness, tingling, all sorts of different weird things people tell me. They're like, you're not going to believe this. And I'm like, yeah, try me, because I've probably heard it. After 10 years of doing this with people, I've probably heard it. Okay, so we're going to go again. This is our 3rd time that we're going to do our exercise.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Come back. And this time my body's like, give me a really good shake it out.
Oh, yes. So she was doing a hold and I was doing
The reps.
the reps.
Yes.
Right.
And I was doing the holds.
You were doing the holds. Oh.
Okay. So now we have to test the hard side, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Because we want to see, did what I exercised and what I treated with work?
And we just do enough to compare it, right?
Correct. You only need to do a rep or 3. I heard something pop.
Yeah.
So let me talk about that for a second.
Yes, I'd be having this popping on this injury.
So some people get pretty excited. So first scoot forward, put your leg out here, rotate it in, and then lift it up.
Lift it up. Okay.
So, but the popping is not a bad thing. Remember, our bodies are going back into balance. They're finding their place where I've got this homeostasis integrated relationship between the different parts. So a lot of times people start the body power system and they start popping and popping and popping, and they're popping more with all different activities, and then it starts to go back down. Why? Because the body is correcting itself. And when your body corrects itself from the inside out, that works, that stays there. Because your body knows how it's supposed to fit together. It knows all these little genetic anomalies and things. Don't you love that word, anomaly? Anyway, I'm an anatomy weirdo. But you get all these different connections in how your body works. So when it goes back into these healthy, essential, baseline, foundational relationships between all the parts and pieces, then you don't have to have all these clicks and pops and cracks and adjustments going on. However, when you're significantly out of balance and you start to bring it into balance, you get a lot of clicks, cracks, pops, and funky stuff going on. And it's just part of the process that you embrace and go, thank you, body, for making another adjustment and bringing me closer to the way I'm supposed to function.
Thank you, body.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, so you guys tested, did you score?
Let's see. Now, what we are doing is seeing
So we're in the first column on the phase 2
this hard
sheet,
side
and we're
compare
going to score the hard side.
compare it to the easy side.
Compared to the easy side, as well as comparing it to the previous score or the initial measurement number that you had. I'm still hearing the Jeopardy music. Okay, so Susan, tell us about your number.
I'm done.
So they got even?
Well, it was. I started out with. Well, I take that back. The trunk twist is even. But my hard side started out with my initial number was 63, but I feel like I have complete mobility.
Okay.
I really do. I feel like, so you'll be looking at me now and see, maybe I don't, but I feel like I do, and I don't have any pain or stiffness.
Oh, wow. No, that was hugely better.
That's huge. I
Hugely
just
better.
feel like I don't have any
Actually,
issues.
this side is now less, or it's got more problems than that side.
How did I end up with 60?
Because you don't have 80? I don't know.
What do you see with that, Mary? Because it feels like I've got mobility in it. Like I'm fine.
So-
I gauge myself like a 33 or a
When
10.
when you raise your left arm up, there is a pull that's happening in your neck, and your head tilts and kind of
My
rotates.
head. I wasn't paying attention to looking straight ahead while I did it, which
Oh.
if I was in a mirror, I would do that, wouldn't I? I'd be looking.
Probably, but again, I don't have a problem if people decide not to use a mirror or not to use their camera, and they're just really doing their best to be aware of what's going on. Now, the first few sessions, I like them to kind of look at what's going on,
Oh.
because I have had people really have huge differences between the left and the right sides, and be like, oh no, they feel even, they're fine. And I'm like, let me video that so you can observe it. And then they're like, holy cow, I can't believe how different they are. Because what we perceive in our bodies may not be what's going on, because we get so used to the dysfunction
Yeah.
and the substitutions and the accommodations that becomes our new normal. And we go, well, that's okay. But we don't realize that what we think is okay is actually adding up, like our car struts and shocks and wheel out alignment and tires wearing out. And we don't realize that that's happening. And so when we can get a little picky, then we can go, oh, I maybe need to pay a little bit more attention. So did you figure out your number?
Yes, I figured it out.
Okay.
I don't have my glasses on and I missed a couple numbers, but I got it right now. I recalculated because I knew something seemed like it was off.
All right.
So now it's 70. It was 80, 70. So the difference 10.
Awesome. So we're going to do one more round. Now, here's what I would do in the clinic with somebody who's presenting like you are, where now I actually think, I call this a reversal, and it's where your left arm is actually now a little bit more strained than your right arm.
Okay.
So one, we can just switch sides, and now you're going to do your right side.
So
Because
now-
it becomes your easier. You're going to do yours the exact same way because we went down by 10. And when you're doing your left leg, one thing you can do is just really focus on that rotate in and see how that rotate in can just really be, utilized from the hip. Okay, so I got to get my handy dandy timer ready.
Getting a little closer to the edge
So we're going to
for my short
twist.
leg.
You're gonna lift and we're gonna push the start button. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna do a shake it out.
My body told me to do more reps, so I did 7.
Oh, awesome.
Felt pretty good that time.
Look at you.
Yeah, because it may have released some things with the 3 reps, and now it says, hey, I'm ready to do a few more.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's all do the second set.
Am I doing this well?
Yeah. As long as you can feel that knee rotated in, and you're lifting it to the point where it's like, yeah, I can feel that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my goodness.
I
They
want to
should-
pull my arm like this too instead of bringing it
If
down.
I
like
can do
this.
this,
Oh.
anybody can do it. Because I'm telling you, my body is, whew. I remember before I had back surgery, my doctor made me have physical therapy because he said, you're in too bad a shape to even have back surgery. So he made me go to therapy for 6 weeks before I could have back surgery. And that's the way I feel now, the way I did before I had back surgery.
Oh my goodness.
Well, let's see how you do over several levels of this, because I think you're going to start to notice that it's like, I'm feeling pretty better. Like,
The heel pain is better. Remember what we talked about?
yes.
Because my heel was hurting me, and now you said, because I said, do I need to go get an x-ray? And you said, let's do the exercise and see how, if you get some relief. And I'm getting relief.
Yeah, because most of the time, I mean, if you have something seriously wrong that you need an x-ray for, and you do a few of these movements, you're typically not going to get relief from the movements. Okay, so we're going to do our last set. At least for this round, right?
There you go. I like it because I don't feel pressure, I just do it at my own pace.
Nice.
Exactly, because it's the pace your body can receive at your pace. Some kids, you put them in first grade and they can read amazingly well in a few months, and other kids, it takes them a year to get to amazingly well, or maybe even longer than that. So, but you have to work with each person with what they can assimilate and what they can put into their bodies and their brains. Okay, I got to do a big shake it out after that.
Me too.
All right. Ooh, yeah, my ribs are going. Thank you.
Yep. And it's so easy sometimes to get, what's the word, intimidated. Because somebody else like her is in better shape than me. But then you have to think to yourself, we all have different things. She been through different things. My body been through different things. So it's okay.
Absolutely. It's totally okay. If I gave you my whole medical history on here, you would probably be shocked what this body's been through.
Yes.
But the truth is, it led me to do the work, and it has been a lot of work, to do the work and to develop a system, right? So I can help other people. And so where you're at is really just a place to help you get to the next place where you need to be the person that you're supposed to be and fulfill the mission that you have on this planet and this earth. And so it's just a place where you're at so you can get to the new place.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
So we're going to test our hard sides now again and see what kind of changes and improvements did I have.
Okay, let me see if I
The
can.
hard side.
Yep, you're testing your hard side.
And just do enough to know the difference.
Exactly.
And that's the part I like. I ain't gonna lie.
No, a lot of people say that. They'll say to me, they're like, you mean I don't have to hurt my hard side? And I'm like, yeah, no, in fact, I forbid it.
That's the part. And I appreciate that part.
I don't have to beat my body up in order to get improvement. No, again, what I've learned is you get far more improvement with far less effort and time when you do it the Body Power System way, which is to focus on what you can do and expand what you can do through your whole system rather than beating up what you can't do. Beat it into submission. When has that ever worked? It doesn't work to beat things into submission, to beat people or bodies into submission. What works is to say, you know, there's this good thing about you. It might be little, but you have everybody has at least one good thing. And so when we look at that good thing and start expanding it, we become this much bigger good, this much greater good that can flow into the whole world.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gives me hope.
Okay, so we're gonna score that.
Okay, now I am scoring. Wow.
So again, you're gonna score your easy and difficult line, your flexible and stiff line, and your comfort and pain line.
Of how you felt the difference with the right versus the left.
Correct, and how you felt it too with the previous time.
Okay.
So you're looking like, did I feel improvement? Did I not feel improvement? Now I'm going to talk for a little bit. Susan, we switched her sides, right? Because her easiest side became the harder side and the harder side became the easier side. So we flipped sides, right? So that makes it a little harder to score, but it happens. And so then you just look at it from the point of view is, how much improvement did I think I got?
Well, you caught that. I didn't catch it. As far as how I feel like I've got full range of motion on both sides, and I feel now that you reminded me how to do that properly, that it's increased. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it goes back several inches further, and it's smoother, and your head stays in line, so you're not. I would perceive that you're not getting the tension in your neck that you were getting before.
Yeah, I don't feel the, and that is something that I noticed after the first test, right? That the neck pain returned,
Yeah, that
and
you were
now
like,
I'm
my
not
neck
dealing
got
with that
tight.
anymore, right?
And all that tells us is there is something here that's important that we address. There is an issue here we need to confront. It's not like, oh my gosh, we made the pain come back. No, it's like, oh, you know what? We have not fully resolved the neck issue. You felt significantly better, but we need to keep going so we can fully resolve it.
So when my husband was recovering from a stroke, he was dealing, like so many people deal with, significant eye pain. And he saw a therapist that taught us that pain can actually travel in a different way than you expect. So to do this thing around his eye socket, and that there's sometimes the pain would be here, then it would move and it would go over here within the same session until it finally chased it right out. What's the physiology behind what makes something like that work?
So pain is an indicator that there is a problem. It is a terrible indicator of what the underlying cause of the problem is. And so I haven't done a lot of work like that on eyes, but my guess is that the nerve was still recalibrating because of the damage from the original stroke, and you were kind of tracking it from your hand positions, which I'm assuming is fairly close to what actually happened. Was that you were tracing the nerve back to the origin, because the nerve that comes through there comes back into this area of the skull and goes into the brain through there. And so when we let go of our need to have the pain treated and we embrace the fact that the pain is giving us a message, but it's not necessarily giving us the message of what actually needs to be brought back into balance or what needs to be addressed. And we start looking for what needs to be addressed. Like in level 1A, you were having quite a bit of neck pain.
Yeah.
And you were like, how did doing the leg raise?
I still think that's really neat.
How did doing the leg raise help my neck and pain and headache? Because now you don't have the headache at all. But how did that work? Well, because you literally have a band of connective tissue, not to mention all the nerves, that run from your brain and your head all the way down your back and into your feet. And so when we can open those up and help just slide them through and balance them out, we don't have the headache anymore. And that's the whole thing, is that we get very attached to having our pain be our focus. I gotta focus on the pain. I put my magnifying glass, my microscope on the pain, and I analyze the pain rather than analyzing all the places I don't have pain, rather than analyzing all the places that I can pull in these different directions to pull the tissue out of that wad of pain.
That's true. We definitely concentrate more on the pain.
Exactly. And so in the Body Power system, we're not concentrating as much on the pain as we are on the solution. Because the solution is what brings us into pain free, rather than like, I got to get rid of the pain. I got to get rid of the pain. You know, because when we got here, you were like, I don't feel good. I have a headache. And I said, well, let's get started with the system and see what happens. And I would have laid you $1,000 bill. It was going to be the leg raise that helped you. Because I've seen this over and over again in my practice. People come in with headaches and we do leg raises and they're like, oh my gosh. Because again, we look at contralateral, meaning the opposite side, as left and right. Contralateral can be an infinite number of opposites. Because if I say this is where my problem is, this, oh, and I have all the back and down my side, and there's a lot of different points, right? So when I do the movement testing, that's enabling my body to tell me where the actual opposite is that needs to address and pull out of that dysfunction that's causing the pain. And that's where the power comes from with the Body Power system, because we're using the power that's innate and inherent in our bodies to correct it.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the Body Power system with us. I'm pretty thrilled. Okay, so now we're going to do our second exercise, because we had a little break.
Here we go.
So mine is leg raise, rotate in, and I'm going to take a second. Huh. Well, my body's done this a lot, and it says I have to do 10.
So we're going to do the...
I don't get 3 or 7
Now I've got
reps.
to do leg raise too.
We're doing the hard again.
We're going to do the hard side, yeah.
Here we go. Hard side.
No, we're doing the easy side.
Oh.
But you already did this exercise.
That's right. What's
your second exercise?
Oh, the second. That's right.
So
Sorry.
this is number 2. Yeah, but again, you're helping people learn, so I'm
That's
really
right.
grateful.
That's right.
Because this reviews
I
for
was
people.
starting to do the one again. Okay, I need to go get caught up here and go to the second. And the second for me is trunk twist, bend same side.
Okay, so I need to pop out my cell phone so that we
Which
can.
was the hardest? Let's see. The hardest was the right side. That's right.
So which side are you going to go to?
I am going to go to the easy side, which is the left.
Awesome. And you're going to bend your spine, not your hips. There you go. Okay, I'm hitting your timer right now. And you figured out your reps already. Rotate in.
I took your 7.
I did you?
Okay, shake it out, wiggle it around.
Shake it all about and do the hokey pokey and you know.
I don't know if I can do 3 sets of 7, but I
And you started off with 7 anyway.
Okay, so we're going to do our second set. Ready and go.
I can feel this in my arm, shoulder, and my back.
Interesting.
And I have pain in my arm.
Okay, so when that happens, thank you for having this happen because now I can teach people.
Okay.
So when this happens, I want you to feel the way you're doing the exercise or the movement.
Okay.
Oops, sorry about that. And so you're going to twist and then side bend. Okay, because this did feel good when we tested before. So what's not feeling good now?
This arm right here.
Okay, so I'm going to come and help you just a little bit.
Okay.
Where we're going to, nope. You're trying to twist and side bend simultaneously.
Okay.
So let's just twist, and do you get pain there?
No.
Okay, now side bend, and do you get pain there?
No.
Okay, so you're going to hold that for the 20 seconds, no reps, just holding it.
Okay.
It's true, I have to turn my phone back on so I have my timer. Okay, there you go. So now,
Hurry up, clock.
just so you know, I totally get that feeling. I have so been there and felt that.
Make it stop.
All right, so let's test our hard sides because we've done it 3 times now. So what's important too at home is that you notice how we could slightly change her exercise and it totally took away her pain. It's okay to say, maybe I need to do this slightly different so I can do it and get the changes. Okay, so don't go, oh, well, now it's hurting so I can't do it. No, maybe I need to slightly change how I'm doing it because my body's changed. There we go. I hope you got that face on the camera. Because that's what I call the face. And I get this a lot in the clinic, so that's why I named it the face. Because it's like, that did not happen, did it?
Like,
Did that really
you
happen?
don't say.
You mind showing me this one like you did?
Yeah. So that's what I call the face when it's like, oh my gosh, did that really happen? Yes, it did really happen. So first
She's
twist.
fixing all my problems, Mary.
And then crunch over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Feels really good from my side of the skin.
It do feel good. It's actually stretching the back of my back.
All right.
Yeah, because what I feel from the outside of your skin may be significantly different than what you feel from the inside of your skin, because you have a lot more stuff going on inside of there than I do on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so be sure you're filling out your papers.
Yep. That's what I had to get on top of. I missed it.
Okay. So at home, you can do that second round on your worksheet, and even a third round if you want to, or if you feel like your body is able to do those worksheets. In order to continue to improve and maximize your potential, what I've seen in the clinic is that the closer you get your two sides in any one session, the better they stay closer together, the better they stay in a greater symmetry than if I just do one round. So it's really better if you can do 2 or even 3 rounds so those two sides get as close as possible. The other thing is, remember, these are your top 2 movements to use for your exercises over the next 2 to 4 days until you go to your next level of BODi Power System. So you're going to do whatever your top 2 movements were. You're going to repeat them hopefully at least twice a day, but for sure once a day. But I want to maximize your progress. So the guy that I've had the absolute best progress with, he was absolutely determined to get quick progress. He did them 3 times a day. His progress was honestly blew me out of the water. Wow. So it's super important to do these on a daily basis for that few minutes a day, because the truth is you are worth it. And you have to put your oxygen mask on before you can be available to help anybody else put theirs on. So be sure that you're doing your activities to keep yourself in balance and feeling great.
Oh, yes.
And keep thinking about, what will I do when I can move well again and without pain? Until next time, I'm Mary Thomas, owner of Innovative Therapy and developer of the BODi Power System.